Hello, YouTube wise FIFA here, coming at you today on a Wednesday morning, Tuesday night for some people, with a marquee matchup squad builder challenge prediction video. Really excited to get this out. Wanted to get it out a little bit earlier, but got caught up with some friends having a nice time and whatnot. But we're here and now, and I'm really excited to bring you this week. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys the four main ones and then a few sleepers to go along. This could be a really solid weekend for investing. I think I'm still getting this. I wanted to get this up earlier, and I think I did before the team of the week so that you guys will be able to invest heavily when that drops, because player prices usually drop around then. So I'm going to start, of course, with the main ones. This week there are some really interesting things. A lot of leagues are starting, such as the MLS, the Korean League, and the Russian League is starting back up. So that is after a big break. So I definitely think that these are some leagues that haven't featured a lot in squad builder challenges as of late, and EA are going to pounce on the opportunity to do that. So the first one that I think is going to feature and has a really good shout is we're going to go to the Russian League. And there's two big teams. It's not necessary. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's a rivalry, just considering that these two teams, CSKA Moscow and Zenit, have been really good teams for so long. So you guys can go to these teams and you can still pick up players for like 400, 500 coins, and you can make some serious bank if this one does pan out. And even if they don't, like, there's still a lot of players here on the sale. The hype is starting to pick up a little bit, so you might want to get in on this sooner than later. But the thing is that even if these players didn't get featured, didn't sell, the fact that there is that small love league squad builder challenge, you're definitely going to be able to sell on your your players. Same thing with Zenit. I think it's actually going to be easier to pick up Zenit players for sure, just because there are a lot more of them and whatnot. You can probably pick up this guy for around 350 whatnot, and you still have a lot of options. And if this team of the week is going to be anything like the last one, there's going to be a ton of packs open, so there should be a period where a lot of these players are going for low. So now we are going to move to the Korean League. So in the KLeague, there are a couple options. I think that the most likely you should just invest in KLeague players in general. FC Seoul has got it's FC Seoul versus the I'm gonna butcher the next name. I'm just gonna show you guys it first before I go into it. But you guys can pick up a lot of these players. I can see this being one where you have to have one or two from each team, and then there's probably gonna be a nationality and maybe a low 70s rating requirement. So it's that matchup is FC Seoul versus the Samsung, the Suwon Samsung, and they call them like the Bluebirds or something like that. And again, I mean, for these, I think the big money is going to be in silvers or higher, because there is probably going to be a low low rating requirement, and there's definitely still room to pick up these guys. And even if you pick up these guys for 500, these prices are going to go for in the 700s to 800s, especially if they give out a good pack. But as I was saying, there is another matchup in the Korean League, and that's the Ulsan Hyundai versus the Pohang Steelers. I probably butchered that one too, but this is another one that's a little bit lower on the market, and I definitely think you guys should be investing in high-rated silvers in the Korean League in general. Like I said, though, I think that the FC Seoul and the Suwon Samsung are most likely to get featured, but this is a matchup where you should pick up a couple players, at least from these couple teams, just in case they pull a fast one. So the next main one, we're going to go to the MLS. The American League is starting up again. I'm really excited about it. And I'm actually going to go with the matchup I think that will feature is the Chicago Fire versus the Columbus Crew. There's a lot of really solid gold options from Columbus, of course, but this Nikolic from the Chicago Fire could go for a crap ton if they feature, because he's pretty much the only gold. Other than that, you can pick up some other silvers, but the Chicago Fire do have or are kind of expensive because of that squad builder challenge. Now, in terms of the Columbus Crew, you have some Higuain, and then shoot, Kamara doesn't play for them anymore, but Higuain could be a really solid investment from regardless if this matchup gets featured or not, because I definitely think there will be an MLS one. So the other MLS one that could feature is the Houston Dynamo versus Seattle Sounders. Of course, there's no gold players for Houston, and that's why I think they're going to shy away from Houston, just because there's not a lot of gold players, although this matchup might be a little bit better considering that Chicago has not been the best in the MLS, but there's definitely, I feel like, going to be an MLS feature in here, so don't be afraid to go pick up a bunch of non-rares from other teams as well, high-rated non-rares, because they might do a nationality or ratings requirement. Finally, for the main, or no, this isn't finally for the main ones. Oh, actually, yes, it is. Wow, I've been coming through this. Finally, for the main ones, we're going to go to Chile. And the main matchup that I think is going to feature in Chile is Colo Colo versus the Universidad Catalonia. I'm going to double check on that name, but it's not necessarily the narrow, or it's not the Universidad de Chile. It's the one that has the narrow looking one. But as you can see here, there's going to be plenty of small investments. This is a matchup that I don't think a lot of people are talking about at all, but it is a derby in Chile and could really surprise a few people. And if this works out, there's gonna be a lot of profit to be made for people. I mean, like what I'm saying, what I advise with this one is just go out and pick up 10 Chilean players from each team for 150 coins. That's not that much of an investment at all for people, regardless of their price range. And if it works out, this is going to be real popular. There's going to be a ton of people buying right away because of that. And I think that could work out really well. Now I'm going to give what's interesting about this is I'm going to give you guys a couple sleepers that are actually would be bigger matchups in other weeks, but just because of a lot of the squad builder challenges out recently, I do not think EA are going to necessarily stick with the big leagues for this squad builder. But of course, you got to do your due diligence and look at a full spectrum of investments. So the next one is going to be Liverpool versus Arsenal. This is a sleeper pick, but you can still get some players here. I would definitely recommend for this going down the non-rare route, especially because I don't think a lot of people have confidence that Arsenal and Liverpool are going to feature, even though a lot of people are talking about it. It is a matchup that could be profitable, but again, there have just been so many other BPL things that I almost feel like EA will think that they're just reusing and redoing things and they'll make it stale. So that was the Premier League one in the city, and then we're just going to go to the Serie A for another one, and then finally I'll give you one more after that. So then we're going to the Serie A, and we're going to go with Roma is facing Napoli. I believe it is in Naples, though. And again, there's plenty of non-rare options here. I'll start setting the tone just so you guys can see that. Plenty of non-rare options for this team that you can pick up. I mean, Alisson is decent or whatnot, but it does look like a lot of people think Roma versus Napoli will feature. So that means that this one could be a nice investment if you want to sell into the hype. So sell these guys around late Thursday or right before the Squad Builder Challenge drops on Friday, and you might be able to make a solid profit, because I'm not too confident that the Serie A one will feature. Finally, another sleeper, the last sleeper pick, we're going to go to Greece in the Hellas League. There are only 3 teams that feature from the Hellas League in Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, and PAOK that feature in FIFA. And this week, Olympiacos plays PAOK, and there's still a lot of good non-rares on the market that you guys can pick up for cheap. Definitely don't pick up these people for more than 400 coins, because if this doesn't feature, then you could be stuck with a lot of Greek players a lot of Greek league players that you don't necessarily want, but there are a ton of low-rated gold investment opportunity here. So low-rated gold, high-rated silver, so definitely don't be afraid to mix in that matchup. So, going to give you guys a quick recap before I get into the pack. And so, what we're looking at for this week is the main ones that I think will feature are CSK Moscova versus Zenit, Colo Colo versus Universidad de Catalunya, Columbus versus the Chicago Fire, FC Seoul versus Samsung, the Swan Samsung, and then Liverpool, Arsenal are the sleepers, as long with Roma versus Napoli and Olympiacos versus PAOK. And again, just remember that MLS and Korean League players, regardless, are going to be good investments, because I believe that these 2 leagues definitely will feature in the marquee matchup, considering their leagues are starting anew. So definitely look out and especially look into the Pyong Steelers and the Ulsan Hyundai players and the Houston Dynamo and Seattle Sounders. So we're gonna open this pack here. I'm about to finish up the video. Let's see if we can pull anybody that we think will feature in the marquee matchup. Hopefully, we usually actually always do. So hopefully it goes well with us. We got Zappa Costa. That is not the best pull, but we get a squad fitness, I guess, and this dude that's rocking a sweet beard, looking like I can't see anything going in the Bundesliga anyways. That's why I didn't try to get any features in there, but it doesn't look good for the rest of it. So I'm just going to store all this in the club. Make sure you guys leave any marquee matchups you think I left out in the comment section below. Give me some advice or suggestions in there too, but make sure you guys like and subscribe if you like what I'm doing. Check out my channel. I got some new channel art or whatnot up there. It's starting a new series. Going to have another video up later today for the Foot Market Watch. I'm really excited about that. But most importantly, stay wise.